You all thought Digibro's decompression chamber was canceled, didn't you? Well, it is. I stopped doing them. This is the special edition. Yay! Special depressing podcast just for you guys. And I love this idea that the PCP is becoming this mishmash of like hilarious comedy shows and then just utterly gutturally depressing solo podcasts. So this one is going to get extra meta because this is kind of a response to the second episode of Tom's hyperbolic wine chamber. And if you didn't listen to that one, to summarize it, essentially it's Tom, as usual, being very hard on himself and talking about his need to earn his keep in the procrastinators by feeling like he's under-talented and not doing enough. I don't know why he thinks he has to earn his keep. No one's ever said anything of the sort, but, you know, Tom's always pretty down on himself. Personally, I think Tom will always be in the PCP because I like Tom. I like having him around. I hope he keeps living. Might be selfish of me to say so, but anyways, I want to respond to it because in it, Tom has some admiration for me and Jesse and Mumkey Jones. And this is not just about Tom. This is also about a lot of the Procrastinators fans, a lot of my fans in general, a lot of people who look up to us. Even within our own group. I mean, just as Tom looks at us and feels like he's not doing enough or isn't talented enough, I've always felt the same way looking at Jesse. I've always felt Jesse was exponentially more talented than me. And, I really struggle with the idea that the videos I make aren't really doing anything artistically in comparison to what Jesse's doing, I mean, I have a lot more self-confidence and I enjoy my own content a lot more than I think Tom enjoys his own content. So like I'm able to find a reason for it to exist. But I still feel it pales in comparison to Jesse. But I think the difference I have in mindset here, and that like the perspective I want everyone to keep, everybody in our audience, Tom, myself, everyone, is that nothing about this is admirable. Nothing about what any of us is doing is admirable. And none of us is really happy doing this. I need to stress this. If you look up to us because you want your life to be like us, what you're going to get is not going to be a life of satisfaction and happiness. If you're trying to pursue, I want to have the exact same career that those guys have, or the same art that they have, like, none of us is someone who sits around being satisfied with our lives and is like super okay with the way things stand or the way they are. And maybe you think it'll be different for you. Maybe you think it's not going to turn out the same way. But I just want you to, like, before you go looking up to what we do, just remember that we're doing this largely out of being broken people who can't function normally in society, either because of the circumstances surrounding us or just because, I don't know what's wrong with us. I mean, Mumkey Jones has a channel called Mumkey's Countdown to Suicide, in which he is constantly reassuring everyone of the fact that he will kill himself. Mumkey hates being alive. He is a depressed, suicidal man. It's cool that he got a book written. Like, I know that's what Tom was admiring about him, is that Tom, also wants to write a book, and he read Mumkey's and he really admired Mumkey's writing. But writing that book has not made Mumkey not suicidal. And all he's gotten out of it is that it paid his rent for 1 month. It sold incredibly well for a self-published book, which is to say it made like $600, and paid his rent for 1 month at a crucial moment when he was in between moving and, needed that money because he couldn't get a job during that month. So it's not like he's got spending money as a result of the book. It just covered his living expense. His Patreon's not super successful or anything. He's not living off of it. He hopes to be, possibly, but I'm pretty sure when he moves to North Carolina, he's going to get a normal job. Writing that book will never be publishable. He knows it himself. The book has an 11-year-old rubbing cum all over her body. Spoilers. He doesn't like it when I tell people that. So that's, being Monkey Jones, you might see it as artistically fulfilling because you admire his art more than your own, but Monkey Jones himself is not happy with it. Like, if you were in his shoes, you wouldn't be happy. He's not a happy person. If you were Endless Jess, his art comes almost exclusively through adversity, through just the horrible things that are happening to him constantly. This is a man who was already depressed and didn't want to fly across the country to make a bunch of videos at the time that that we did a Kickstarter, so he kind of had to. But he flies down here, works through his crushing depression for just long enough to finish these videos, goes home, and his fucking house is flooded, and everything's ruined. And he's sick, and he's just like, sifting through the ashes of his dead life, trying to harness nuggets of art out of that just to make money to live. Jesse doesn't want to be doing YouTube videos. He's doing it because he's broke, and he has no other choice, he's not happy with it. He doesn't like his work that much. He's usually dissatisfied with his videos, hates looking back at them, as much as we look up to it, as much as we look at it and go, wow, Jesse, the stuff you're doing is so amazing. I admire you so much. None of that matters to him, because where that art is coming from is it's a place it's a dark place. And this is sort of the subject of this song that me and Jesse made called Paradise recently. Because a while back, me and Jesse made this song called Get Action. And the point of this song was to shit on everybody who wasn't putting in as much work as we were. But it was not necessarily meant to inspire people, which is what it did. And we both saw it as kind of ironic and maybe even dangerous. I mean, I do say in the song, you have to get action, you got to put your life on the line, you got to go all out if you want to be as good as us. But it wasn't my intention to suggest that you want to be as good as us. I was merely like the anger of that song is in people looking at me like I don't know what I'm doing. The point of it was to say, I am amazing at this. I'm built for this. I've done nothing but practice this. This is my life. So don't try to say, don't even look at me for advice unless you're willing to put this level of insane effort in. But it's not me saying that you should put this level of insane effort in, that you should become this person. Because when I look at what I am, I spend 50% of all my time sitting around wondering, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I sleep for ridiculous amounts of my day. I sleep through as much of the day as possible, and the only way that I manage to get through, because of the fact that there's nothing happening in my life. The reason I'm so productive is not because I have a great work ethic. In fact, I don't even think I have a good work ethic, because actual work if I wanted to be making money and doing the right kind of videos and putting out stuff that's going to advance my career and stuff like that, or sometimes I have a main series video that needs to get done and I put it off for days to just go make a bunch of bullshit. And I'm not making the bullshit because I think it's good work. I'm doing it because I'm fucking bored and I don't know what else to do with myself. I don't know how to live a normal life. I don't know how to do anything other than make YouTube videos. I'm just a machine built for this. It's not admirable. It produces fun art for all of you, but wanting to be like me, I don't think you should. And keep in mind, because in everyone else's case, I can say they're throwing themselves against a brick wall with maybe seemingly no reward. No matter how much Jesse works, he can't get himself out of that shitty house. No matter how much Tom works, he can't get himself out of his shitty house. No matter how much Monkey works, we don't know. Monkey's kind of up in the air because he's about to move. Hippo just wants to have a breakthrough. He's making all these videos just trying to have one of them get big enough that his channel can actually sustain. Hippo's talking all the time about how he's not sure if he should keep doing YouTube forever because it just hasn't fucking broken through. It's been 3 years, and for all of them, there's that aspect. But that's not true of me. I am successful. I made $50,000 last year. I made more than a lot of your parents probably made. You know, I made a lot of money. I had a successful year. This is a career. This is a real career for me. That hasn't made it happy. It's given me lots of perks. It's given me great ways to get through this crushing nihilistic depression. You know, I'm able to survive and to come off as like, you know, enjoying myself because I constantly distract myself. I constantly make videos because when I'm not making videos, I'm just sitting around with myself. And the only ways that I know how to escape that are to just go and eat. You know, I go out to a restaurant and I try to waste as much time as I can. I go out, you know, I fucking drive across town, go to some far-flung restaurant, and I have a nice meal and I enjoy myself. Yeah, that's cool. It's a perk that I get for having so much money and being successful on YouTube. But it's just there to make me not think about what I'm doing at home. You know, I've developed a shopping addiction because every day I want to go out and go somewhere and be not at home for as long as possible so I feel like I'm doing anything with my life. So I'll go out to just some store and just wander around until I buy something, you know, just to have that thrill of purchasing a thing and taking it home. You know, I drink all the time. You know, I get bored. I can't stand being alone with my thoughts, so I just start drinking, you know, or I make another video, just do anything to distract me from the fact that I'm not doing anything. And I don't know how to do anything. Making all this money hasn't taught me how to do that. It hasn't taught me how to get out of the house, how to meet new people, how to like make connections, how to figure out what's wrong. Because this is not how I envisioned my life was going to be when I was growing up, you know? Like, I always thought that the road towards success was going to be from escaping this. Like, I thought because this is what I've been doing since I was a teenager. I've been locked in my room, you know, sitting on the internet talking about anime for over 10 years now. This is all I've ever been doing. And back then, when it didn't seem like there was a career to be made out of this, when it seemed like this was just throwing shit into the void that no one would ever care about, you know, which is how it was for over 5 years. May I remind everyone, I have only been successful for as long as I was doing this completely unsuccessfully to an audience of no one. You know, I started anime writing in 2007. I spent 5 years before I even had a YouTube channel, you know, and even then another year before it was successful enough to consider a job. You know, and another 2 years after that before it was a job that was above minimum wage. But like, in all that time, I always thought that the road to being successful would mean getting out of the house, going out and finding something to do out in the world. And so the fact that I found work here, that I was able to be successful without changing anything, what that feels like it's telling me is that I won't ever change anything. Like, why would I change if I can be successful just staying here? But this kind of success, this doesn't feel right to me. Like, I'm not happy with the idea that I'm a guy who just lives in his room all the time. I want to be someone who goes out and does things and has stories to tell, who meets people, who goes places. Like, I really admire and look up to people who have, like, a storied life, you know? And I don't have that. All I have is, I mean, I do all these fucking podcasts and Let's Plays where always the story is, well, I watched a lot of anime this week and I made a whole bunch of videos. That's what I was up to. You know, like, I can't tell stories about what's happened in my life because nothing's happening. And, like, there's a huge part of me that always thought things would be different. And I'm standing here like, but how do I even justify it? How do I even justify leaving the house, you know? And it's not like I want to do something else, because I love doing this job, but I just don't know how to branch out. I don't know where to go because I'm just broken. I'm broken in the mind. The reason I'm able to have such an amazing work ethic is because I am broken in the mind. So before you go looking up to me and what I do, take a step back and ask yourself, do you actually want this life? Because this is what it will cost you. You'll have to spend 5+ years working in complete obscurity just to hone your skills. That's what it took. I've been doing this nonstop for 10 years. I started my anime blog in 2007. I was writing, there were times in 2009, I had a post out every day, sometimes 3 posts a day. You know, I had 59 posts in the month of February 2009. I remember that. No one read any of those. I was just grinding material. And then finally it got good enough, and I figured out a platform where people would actually watch the shit. And then another 5 years to get actually successful. You know, I've got 10,000 hours in this shit. That's why I'm good at it. So first you got to be willing to just waste years of your life. And I got lucky in that I got to waste those years young. You know, if you're already my age, get ready to waste the next 10. I mean, you probably have a leg up on 15-year-old me who was just garbage at writing, you know, and had no worldview whatsoever because I was so young. You've got a leg up on that, but expect to take some time, you know. Now, the next thing you have to be ready for is to lose all social connections and all of your friends. I used to have a group of friends who was at my house all the time. None of them are here anymore. I don't talk to any of them because we have nothing in common, because all I do is work. This is my whole life. I don't relate to anybody. The only people I relate to are other people doing the same thing, which is why I'm in the PCP and why those are my only fucking friends. So, you have to be ready to burn away your social connections, to spend all your time on this, to burn away your health. Because in the process of trying to make videos constantly, you will sit in a chair for, you know, dozens of hours a day. I know there's only 2 dozen in a day, but, you know, I sit in this chair 12 hours a day. That's a fair statement, you know, assuming I'm awake for that long out of a day. I am always here working, and I just don't, I don't really find time for health and upkeep and personal fucking like grooming or anything. Like, that stuff doesn't come naturally to me. All of my teeth are falling out of my fucking skull. I keep getting fatter. I've become an alcoholic. I was addicted to cigarettes for a little while. You know, I'm trying to keep away from that, but I'm fairly certain I'm gonna end up smoking again before too very long because it just looks too cool not to do it. Like, you know, I quit smoking and I quit caffeine for the last few weeks because of the fact that I started having anxiety attacks. And, you know, I looked up what causes anxiety, and it was a lot of the things I was doing. So I cut those things out, and I have stopped having anxiety problems since doing that. It's just made me incredibly lethargic, and now I've just been laying around staring at the ceiling all day, you know? Like, I'm always bouncing between those two extremes. It's always either I don't want to do anything or I want to do everything and it's driving me insane, and why do I still live here and why am I still acting this way, and am I ever going to be normal? Because even when I find myself in situations where I should be able to talk to people, I completely fail at it, you know? I don't want people to look at me and think that because I'm making videos all the time and I'm making lots of money that you want that life. Because what that life comes with is just this constant feeling that you're doing something wrong, that this wasn't what you were supposed to be doing, that, like, this isn't what the world, you know, told you were meant to be doing growing up, you know. And it's not that I don't like this job, because I do, and this job is what's keeping me from being completely depressed, because anytime I try to just say, I'm going to put distance between myself and this job, I just do nothing. You know, I don't know how to do anything else. So this job's the only thing I have. But I don't think it's something to seek out. You know, if you have the opportunity to go do something interesting and normal, I would encourage that. You know, normalcy is not a bad thing to pursue. It's stability. It's like the idea of normal is that there's nothing wrong with you, you know? Like, to do this kind of job, you have to have something wrong with you. Something kind of broken, you know? And I mean, not to say that it can't be fun. It can be. And if you do get really successful, like, I totally encourage Best Guy Ever to keep going on the path he's going to eventually get successful at YouTube and to, you know, make enough money at it, because he's going to treat it like he treats his job anyways. You know, it's just going to be a more creatively fulfilling version of what he was doing. And I kind of almost admire all these YouTubers who do just like treat it like work, you know, these guys who are just doing it as a job, because the way people consume it doesn't change if you do it as a job versus doing it as art. And I worry that guys like us are just inspiring a whole fucking group of people who are setting themselves up for disappointment. Because either you're going to go down the road of constantly straining yourself trying to become an artist and failing and getting depressed over it, or actually becoming an artist and realizing that it doesn't bring you any more happiness than what you already had, you know? Except in the mere pride that you can eke out of the fact that you did what you wanted to do, which I guess is what keeps us all going in the long run. Anyway, yeah, that's that, I guess.
To all who admire me, I know it'd fire me if I had ever hired me. And I mean by firing squad, I'm gayer than God and deserve to be deader than a doorknob. That's law, but I quit smoking, so I won't be choking on anything other than dick for a while. Never been in style, stayed acting like something of a prick, and it's wild of some punks who act like I stabbed someone just cause I gave a 1 to their favorite show. Do you even know what is an opinion? Objectivity doesn't exist, I told you a million times. There is no rule to rhyme, no design, only what you decide you like at this time. And I hate myself, so don't emulate me unless you're better with self-help.
Please don't tell me this is paradise. I've been dreaming something much more nice. If this is all there is, then why fight? Please don't say your endgame is my life. It's not right.
A trillion fans ain't worth a damn. They ain't worth one friend I can call my man. Ambition is living how others won't for a vision and a mission. Getting what others don't, but that's missing the mark. Giving every spark makes your heart dark, cause ambition is a prison, not a walk in the park. I've had best friends tell me that they envy me and look with jealousy, like I'm the enemy, like I'm a rival. But man, you ain't a rival to me, I'm rival. My survival through miles of trials would be tragedy if not for the fact that I'm getting back to my family. Nothing else helps, so it's hell to have you mad at me, cause I'm broken. I don't know how long it's been since I seen the sun or fill my lungs with oxygen. I'm too far gone, I take norminess over this. Gotta check the pulse in my wrist to know I exist.
Please don't tell me this is paradise. I've been dreaming something much more nice. If this is all there is, then why fight? Please don't say your ending is my life. It's not right.